Our first speaker is Uma Vikraman from the Indian Institute of Technology, Madras, and she's going to speak about aquarium K-theory of cellular toric varieties. Please.
Yeah. Thank you very much for the introduction. So firstly, I wish to thank the organizers, Taras, John Pack, Lisa, and Tony for giving me this wonderful opportunity to speak here in this conference or this workshop. Okay, this toric topology. It's always a great pleasure and an honor to be part of the toric topology conference meeting. But I would like to be in person, participate in person, but due to unexpected visa delays, I could not make it. But all the same, I really feel very happy to be giving an online talk here. So I had the opportunity to attend many nice talks. So many of the things have been defined. We are familiar with many things, and so one thing common in this is that like we all are love torus and torus action. So I will start the talk. So I'm going to speak on this equivariant K theory of cellular toric varieties. So I will start with some definitions. So we start with let T be a C star power n, this complex algebraic torus of dimension n. So X is a complex algebraic T variety. So we can generally put the condition of normal such that the set of T fixed points is finite. So we have seen these kind of discussions before in the other talks. So we have finitely many T fixed points. So in Professor Masuda's talk and Juliana and many other talks, we have seen these kind of things. So now we consider a one parameter subgroup. So from the C star to T, and so we will consider a generic one parameter subgroup. That means that we'll assume that the fixed points of this one parameter subgroup is the same as this finitely many fixed points of T. So this is like a famous paper of Bialynicki Berula. So where they take this one parameter subgroup and consider the limits of this under the action, and then and then they consider this cells. These are called the Bialynicki Berula. So because we are tending to 0, these are plus cells, and so we choose this xi and call this the plus cell x plus xi associated to a generic lambda. So we'll define, first of all, a cellular T variety. So with the assumption that it has this finitely many T fixed points. So the conditions are that, so it is a union of its plus cells. So there are m of them, as many as the number of T fixed points. And not only that, there is a decreasing chain of T stable closed subvarieties such that, so it stops with the empty set starting with X, in such that the consecutive differences, they are, for us, they are the cells. So we will assume that these cells, and then it satisfies the condition they're closed varieties. So this YI closure will always be contained in the union of the cells which come after it in this ordering. And then each YI, we assume that, we also assume, because sometimes generally it's not, it may not be true that these cells are smooth. So we will assume that these cells are smooth and they are complex affine spaces. So we call it of dimension Ni. So these are our conditions. So this is called as, just if we put this kind, it's called filterability, but then we are also assuming that the cells are smooth. So we will start with a toric variety now associated to a fan. And we assume that this fan is a pure fan. That means the maximal dimensional cones are all n dimensional. So in the lattice Zn, so there is this dense torus. And so each fixed point we can associate to a maximal maximal dimensional cone, sigma I. So we needed a generic one parameter subgroup. For that, we need to choose the lattice points because we know that one parameter subgroups correspond to lattice points. But then we have to choose it such that it's outside the hyperplanes spanned by the n-1 dimensional cone. So it will be in the relative interior of some n-dimensional cone. So now we want to see in toric varieties, we always give a combinatorial interpretation for everything using the fan. So we want to do the same for the cellular definition, cellular variety. So we in each sigma I, you can take this V and consider the faces of sigma I such that the image of this in the quotient, this NR mod R gamma, this we generally use in the toric thing. So in the quotient, it should be in the relative interior of this sigma I mod R gamma. So we can choose, but it could be sigma I itself, but then it may not be. So, but then we take all these faces, but we can easily check that. So this V we have chosen, so we can check that this is closed under intersection. So we can always choose a minimal such face, and that face we call as tau I. So associated to each maximal dimensional cone, we have this tau I, which is minimal with respect to this property that V is in the relative interior of sigma I bar, rather sigma I bar, which is sigma I mod R gamma. So we will fix this dimension of tau I as Ki. So we now say the result is that if Yi, the Vialniki-Virula cells can be described in terms of this tau I. So they are just the union of the orbits. So this O gamma are the T orbits. So which are strictly between tau I and sigma I. So corresponding to gamma between tau I and sigma I. So this Yi is the Vialniki-Virula cell of X delta of the toric variety corresponding to lambda V. And and also if we choose this V to be in the relative interior of some cone, so in the mod of the delta, then this X will be the union of these cells. And further, this filterability was one more condition that we put. That means this Yi closure should be contained in the smaller, the cones which come, sorry, the cells which come after that. So that will be equivalent to this combinatorial condition, namely that tau I is contained in sigma j. Any other sigma j implies that I should be less than or equal to j. Okay. So this is the combinatorial condition. Yeah. So I hope I am audible. So everything is, yeah. Okay. Yeah. So this is the combinatorial condition which corresponds to the filterability. So now we need to put one additional condition, like this occurred yesterday also in this Jongbak's talk. We are putting the conditions that these cells are smooth. So for that, we will put the condition that the sigma I bar, that means the image of sigma I bar, the cone, in the star of tau I. Star of tau I consists of the cones containing tau I. So sigma I is a maximal dimensional cone which contains. So sigma I bar will be an n-ki dimensional cone in this fan, star of tau I. So we are putting the condition that although So we see, I wish I should have told right at the beginning that we have several examples of smooth cellular varieties. In fact, every smooth projective variety is cellular. This follows from a paper of Biaraniki Berula, and also the condition that if there are some results that if X is smooth, then the cells are smooth. But therefore, we are more interested in working with non-smooth varieties. But then we are assuming that the cells are smooth. So I will soon come to some motivations for this. So we will isolate this combinatorial condition for X to be T cellular with respect to the Biaraniki-Berula cell decomposition associated to lambda V. That means there should be an ordering of this maximal dimensional cones such that whenever tau I is less than or equal to sigma j, this will imply that I is less than or equal to j. This assures filterability. The second one is that the cells are smooth. That means sigma I bar is a smooth cone in this smaller fan. So if whenever delta satisfies these conditions, we will call such a fan as, but with respect to some V, choice of it very much depends on this lambda V. If you change lambda V, it may not be cellular. We'll see the example. So it may not, this very much depends on V or lambda V. So we'll call it a cellular fan. So I wish to isolate some things here, that if sigma I bar is a smooth cone of dimension n minus ki and star of tau I, we can have this primitive vectors. These primitive vectors in this lattice. So this is the lattice generated by, so this is the quotient, the n mod n tau I. So in that lattice, we have the primitive vectors along the edges of sigma I bar. They will form a basis for this. So we can take the dual basis vectors here. So ui1 up to ui n minus ki, and they will be, the point is that we will need this condition. So they are primitive and pairwise linearly independent again. So this has occurred in some other talks also. They are pairwise linearly independent. Also this, what are the cones which are in star of tau I, the maximal dimensional cones? They are the cones which contain tau I. So we have already characterized that. So what they will be? So it will be j bigger than, it has to satisfy the condition that j is bigger than equal to I. So now I will give the motivation for our definition and this. So our definition of cellular variety and a cellular toric variety was motivated by definition of divisive weighted projective space. This was the work of Harada, Home, Ray, and Williams. And also this retractable toric orbifold, which we considered, Sarkar and me, we considered in our paper. So we this definition of retractable toric orbifolds defining good cell structure. So, and then other than this, we are also motivated by the definition of more classically, this Carroll and Goreski, they consider more general singular varieties with good decompositions in this paper by Carroll and Goreski. So our cellular varieties, which we define, they are the ones which admit good decompositions in the sense of Carroll and Goreski. So we'll again little bit give more detail on this work of Harada, Home, Ray, and Williams, and our work soon. So we need to give some more notations before that. So let T compact. So again, we have seen this, the maximal compact subgroup of T. So there's S1 power n. So we are interested in studying the topological T compact equivariant Kering for complete toric varieties and possibly singular, which are T cellular. So what do we mean by this? This is the K theory and equivariant K theory. They were developed by Atiyah and Segal. So these are very classical, very famous works. So what is KT compact naught of X. So this is the Grothendieck ring of, so Grothendieck group, first of all, we can take the T-compact equivariant topological vector bundles on any X, on the space X, with, we put the group structure is induced by the direct sum operation. And then we can also give multiplication by the tensor product of equivariant vector bundles. So this has been studied deeply, and many results are there for this. So this is like a cohomology theory, so developed by Atiyah and Sehgal. So we are interested in studying this for X delta. So classically, we know we have good descriptions for projective spaces, flag varieties. I said these are all cellular. But then we want to generalize this to other varieties, other toric varieties. So our background for this, so this is a well-known work by Vezzosi and Vistoli in 2003, where they have studied the algebraic counterpart of this K-theory, this algebraic T-equivariant K-ring of smooth toric varieties. And they show that it is isomorphic to the Stanley-Reisner ring of the fan. So this is like very well been repeated in many lectures. But then in this K-theoretic Stanley-Reisner ring, this is slightly different from the cohomology Stanley-Reisner ring. There is this, you can take xi plus or minus 1, the Laurent polynomials, and then quotiented by a suitable ideal, which does, where it does not span a cone, those monomials which don't span cone in delta. So they have shown this result. So later in 2015, Anderson and Payne, they show that algebraic T-equivariant operational K-ring. So I am not a very big expert in this, so I'm not going to define all these things, but they show that of an arbitrary toric variety is isomorphic to piecewise Laurent polynomial functions on the associated fan. So, but this generalizes because in Vezzosi and Vistoli, they also give localization results and this GKM results. So this, but they also prove that it is the Stanley-Reisner ring because it's smooth. But here, this generalizes the results of Vezzosi and Vistoli to possibly non-smooth toric varieties. So these were the results of Anderson and Payne. So in topological setting, right now, we are more interested in that. As I said, Harada, Holm, Ray, and Williams, they have defined this divisive weighted projective space. So what are divisive weighted projective space? This P x naught, chi naught up to chi n such that chi j minus 1 divides chi j. So this, they showed that it is isomorphic to the ring of piecewise Laurent polynomial functions on the associated fan. In one of the results that they show this. Or more classically, we have to mention that the ordinary K-theory of weighted projective spaces was studied by Al-Amrani in 94. In the Sarkar and myself, we study the topological equivariant K-ring of retractable toric orbifolds. So this concept of retractable toric orbifolds was based on the notion of a retraction sequence of a simple polytope. So if toric orbifolds, there is automatically the simple polytope associated to that. So there is a notion of retraction sequence. This was developed earlier in the work of Bari, Sarkar, and Song to study the integral cohomology ring of toric orbifolds. So we use this retractable toric orbifolds to give cellular structure on this toric orbifolds. So particular example is any projective simplicial toric variety cellular. These are examples of retractable toric orbifolds. So we compute the topological T-compact equivariant K-ring of a cellular, in particular cellular simplicial projective toric variety, and show that it's isomorphic to piecewise Laurent polynomial functions on the associated fan. So this generalizes work of Harada, Holm, Ray, and Williams. And also this agrees with the result of Anderson and Payne on algebraic equivariant operational K-ring. Although we have not given any direct relation, the description agrees with that. So am I audible? Is everything okay? Is everything okay? Yes. Yeah, thanks.
Yes, everything is fine.
Thank
Do
you.
have
Thank
any
you so much.
questions?
Thank you.
Questions, comments? No?
Okay, so I will fix some more notations before we state our main result here. So let X delta be a complete T cellular toric variety. And then we, with respect to a generic one parameter subgroup, lambda V. So again, V is in N, a lattice point, but we are again going to choose it to be in the relative interior of the sigma 1 we call. So that's a choice. And because of this choice, again, like it came in the talk of Jong Bak also yesterday, that the sigma 1 is a smooth cone. Maybe it can be done without that assumption, but we are assuming that sigma 1 is smooth. So the Beer-Berula plus cells, we said that isomorphic to this affine space, but it has more structure. As a T representation, it's isomorphic to direct sum of one-dimensional sub-representations corresponding to these characters, Uij. As I said, these characters are dual to the primitive, the vectors along the edges of the star of tau I, the sigma I in the star of tau I. So we have seen the notation earlier, and they are a basis for the lattice. So the main theorem, the first main theorem is, so our aim, so I have to tell our aim here. We want to generalize this to all complete, the results to all complete toric varieties. Sorry. So our the main theorem, first main theorem is that let A be the set of all AI in this RT compact, the representation ring. This is the T compact equivariant K ring of a point. It's the representation ring of the compact torus to the power m, where m is the number of fixed points, such that AI minus AJ is divisible by 1 minus e power chi. So this chi, so sigma I intersection sigma j, that is, so they should share a wall. That means an n minus 1 dimensional cone. And we can choose some character which is orthogonal to that. That is this chi. Then this A gets a structure of an RT compact algebra, where you just simply identify it with the subalgebra of the diagonal embedding, the diagonal elements. So in this theorem, so we show that this X, let this be a complete T cellular toric variety, then this ring is isomorphic to A as an RT compact algebra. This is the first theorem. So in the second theorem, so again, this also maybe in some other talks we have seen this piecewise Laurent polynomial functions. So we want to give another description of this, as we have already mentioned this is in the results of others, Anderson and Payne. So what are these piecewise Laurent polynomial functions? So on each sigma, this is an element of this, it's a Laurent polynomial in this M mod M intersection sigma perpendicular. So we will see that this is nothing but the characters. These are the linear functions on sigma, and they will also be. I'll come to the end, giving some idea of the proof. So at that time, we'll see that these are nothing but some characters of the stabilizers along this sigma. So here sigma doesn't stand for maximal dimensional cone. I'm just using the notation. So these are piecewise Laurent polynomial functions. Sometimes they are also called exponential functions, because we take this linear functions u belonging to M and e power u, that is a notation, and then we can give the ring structure there. So these are also called exponential functions. So we will stick to this terminology, piecewise Laurent polynomial functions. So the condition is that it should be compatible. So we can define on every cone, but then we want that our definition should glue together. So it's compatible. So whenever sigma is a face of sigma prime, the Laurent polynomial function on sigma prime restricted to sigma agrees with f sigma. So these are the ring of piecewise Laurent polynomial functions. We can see that it's a ring under pointwise addition and multiplication. And so we can also say that it's a RT compact algebra. Again, there will be a natural map from Zm to this. Taking any f to the constant tuple, so it will give it a structure of RT compact algebra. So the second theorem is that this, for a complete T cellular toric variety, this ring is isomorphic to piecewise Laurent polynomial functions as an RT compact algebra. So I'll state how these results are related to the earlier results. So this theorem 1 and 2, they are generalizations of the results of Vezzosi and Vistoli for algebraic equivariant K-ring of smooth toric varieties to the setting of topological equivariant K-ring of any complete T cellular toric varieties. But then we are allowing for singular toric varieties. We are just putting the condition of cellular replacing this smoothness condition. And then we are able to prove many things because of that. So maybe we can even remove complete, but that's still under work in, yeah, we can maybe do that also. So this theorem 1 and 2 are also extensions of the results due to Sarkar and myself on the topological equivariant K-ring of to the setting of any complete T-cellular toric variety, not necessarily simplicial and projective, because there I said simplicial and projective because we used the polytopes and the toric orbifolds. So the next main theorem is that we can define some canonical basis elements. So we said that it's an RT compact module because where we have the projection to a point, x2 point, the structure map, and then this always gets, the equivariant K-ring always gets an RT compact module and even more RT compact algebra structure. So we want to, and in fact, it will be a free module, which we will see that it's a free module on exactly M elements. So what are those M elements? We can even describe them here. You can remember this Uijs we defined as this dual lattice, the smooth cone, and then its dual basis. So Uij, J going from 1 to n minus ki. And then this Fi restricted to Xi is this. So now this Fi is an element of this, means by our theorem, it's an element of, it can be considered as an element of this M-fold product of the representation ring. So therefore, what is the ith component for Fi? It is this product of J equal to 1 to n minus ki, this factor. And on all the factors which come after it, this restriction is 0. Then these elements form a basis, and we show that. And then we also compute structure constants in an using descending induction iteratively. We can compute structure constant with respect to this basis. So again, how this result is related. So in Gonzalez, he considers this, as we said, we don't need to take cellular, but we can take rational cell decomposition. So we can assume that those cells, YIs, are rational cells instead of genuine cells. So in that case, this cohomology and other things are studied by Gonzalez, skew filterable GKM varieties. And where this kind of basis is defined for the cohomology and studied. And also in the paper by Timochko, she has constructed basis for the equivariant cohomology of GKM varieties and she calls them Knudsen-Tau bases. So I've not gone to the full detail of these results, but the part she calls them Knudsen-Tau bases. So for the bases which we construct here, they can be viewed as K-theoretic analog of the Knudsen-Tau basis. So whatever we are trying to do it in the K-theoretic setting. So I'll give an example first, and then give an idea of the proof in general, because this will be more illustrative. So this is a two-dimensional non-smooth complete cellular fan. So as you can see, our edges are E1, 4E1 plus E2, 2E1 plus E2, E2 and minus E1 minus E2. So sigma 1, sigma 4 and sigma 5, we are all experts in toric geometry. So they're all smooth, but sigma 2 and sigma 3 are non-smooth. There is singularity. We can see by the taking the matrix and determinant. So there is singularity there. So we will choose our vector V conveniently to be inside the sigma 1. See, if we choose it in sigma 2, like 3E1 plus E2, this may not be cellular. So we are choosing it to be 5E1 plus E2, belonging to the relative interior of sigma 1. Then tau 1 is 0, because we don't need any need to quotient at all. So it is tau 1 is 0. So again, we continue the same process. So we take this image so tau 2 we need to identify. Our tau 2 is this ray. Actually, we can also see that the sigma 2 intersects sigma 3 and it comes after that along this ray. But more directly by our construction, we can see that if we take the image of V bar, it will be 3E1 bar. And it will be in the relative interior. When you go modulo this, it will be simply generated by E1 bar. Sigma 2 bar will be generated by E1 bar. So it will be in the relative interior of that. So this will be tau 2. And similarly, we can take tau 3 is E2. Again, this V bar will be in the array. So these are the where we need to worry about the smoothness also. So furthermore, this tau 4 will be minus E1 minus E2. Again, we can check that 4E1 bar will be in the relative interior of sigma 4 bar. So sigma 4 bar will be having, when you're going modulo this, E1, so E2, E1 minus E2, it will be generated by E1 bar. And the last one here, so this is a convenience. So in fact, our filtration, it stops at the fixed point. So this tau phi is sigma phi itself. It will no other thing, it won't be neither in the relative interior of sigma phi bar, and neither this edge nor this edge will work. So we need to quotient out by the entire thing. So that will be our sigma tau phi will be sigma phi. So as I already said, these are smooth. So then sigma 2 bar is smooth here and sigma 3 bar is. So this is a cellular fan with respect to this lattice point. So now we will also indicate how we are giving the orthogonal vectors to the intersections, the facets. So sigma 1 intersection sigma 2, you can check E1 star minus E2 star. So that is orthogonal to that. And similarly, chi1 for E2 star will be orthogonal to sigma 1 intersection sigma 4. E1 star minus 2E2 star, this will be orthogonal to sigma 2 intersection sigma 3. And E1 star will be orthogonal to E2 star, sorry, sigma 3 intersection sigma 5. E1 star will be orthogonal to that, and E1 star minus E2 star will be orthogonal to the sigma 4 intersection sigma 5. So now by our applying our result, if this restriction, this is congruent to me, if we subtract this, it will be divisible by these Laurent polynomials corresponding to these characters. Fx restricted to x1 minus f restricted to x2 is congruent. I think I should have put 0 here. I think I missed in this 0 mod this. So that means it is, yeah. So sorry, this is correct. This is correct. F is congruent to f restricted to mod this. So but then we want to define this. So this is a general description of any element in this equivariant Kering, but we also want to see what the basis is. So again, as we already said, we start with F1. Only this X1 will be non-zero. After that, all of them will be 0. Again, F2, the first 2 can be non-zero. The rest, F3, the last 2 will be 0. The after, whatever it comes after that in the ordering, they are all 0. Again, F4, the last one will be 0. F5, here it will be 1. So this directly comes by our definition of the basis elements. Maybe I think I can just 1 minute go back to this basis element. So by this definition, but then we need to compute the earlier ones. So for that, we will use the condition that this condition of defining using the JKM condition, we will use this to give exactly what the coordinates are for the basis elements. This is just a illustration of this for this example, 2-dimensional example. So 3-dimensional example is not so easy to draw. So I just gave this example, but in 3 dimension, we can see where we can have non-simplicial. So non-simplicial also it can be done. So I'll just briefly indicate the steps towards the proof. So as I said, we'll first prove that this equivariant Kering is free module on the number of cells, RT compact module. For that, we will use this long exact sequence of T compact equivariant K groups, the relative long exact sequence of this K groups, which is classically there. But then we note that because there's a cell decomposition, this Yi is isomorphic to C and I, so this will break because of the properties of this odd K groups vanish. So they will all break into short exact sequences. And not only that, we can assume by induction now that this Zi plus 1 is free module on the lesser number. So then every time you add one cell, so then it will be split also. So we will get a proof that this is a free module. But then we want to now, as we have seen, there's restriction to the fixed points. This is what is called localization in cohomology. This is the K-theoretic setup for that. So we can restrict to the fixed points. So we have to show that this is injective. Again, is free module. So we will be able to show by this localized standard localization of Atiyah-Segal that this will be injective. But then we have to identify the image, which is the work. That means the image we can identify because if you know the description of the invariant curve, that means that GKM graph somewhere it's done in there in the background. So the invariant curves, in this case, it's a toric variety. So we all know the invariant curves. They are the projective lines joining the T fixed points. So Cij is this one-dimensional toric variety joining, it's a curve joining Xi and Xj. So in these pictures, there will be the projective lines joining these. Every time the sigma 1, sigma 2, there will be projective lines joining them. They are only finitely many. And then using the description of the T compact, so somewhere it will factor, the restriction to the fixed point will factor through these curves because they all lie on these curves. So by reducing to the T compact equivariant Kering description of the projective lines, we will be able to describe the image, but we have to show that everything in A is in the image. For that, we again need to do some inductive work using the short exact sequence, which came because of the cellular condition and the long exact sequence of equivariant Kering. But then how do you get the basis elements? It will come naturally when we show this surjectivity. It arises very naturally. So this is the, yeah. I can't hear. Sorry, is it time? Yeah.
No. You have 5 more minutes. 5 more
Yeah,
minutes.
yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
So this, how this piecewise, how do we prove that the piecewise Laurent polynomial functions? So again, as I said, for each sigma, we can have the orbit and the stabilizer along those orbits, or this distinguished point, we can take the stabilizer. So the characters along the stabilizers, and this is precisely this M mod M intersection sigma perpendicular. So, but then we don't just take the characters, but then we take the exponential. So, or the ring of Laurent polynomial functions on sigma. And then we need to find compatible homomorphisms from A to this Laurent polynomial functions for every sigma. But then for on the maximal dimensional cones, we can just easily give, because we can just define it, because y is and the coordinates, it's an n-tuple. So we can just take the jth coordinate and give the map. But we have to now give it on other cones. So, but then how do we do? The trick is that we can give it on other cones by giving it on the maximal dimensional cone, but it is well defined. There is no problem. But for that, we need the condition that this combinatorial condition of strong connectivity. So this term I am using from polytopic decompositions, like simplicial complex, polytopic complexes. They are called strongly connected if similar condition holds. And in fact, this will also get related because in ODA, you know that we have this sphere, and we can decompose the sphere using this fan and give a polytopic decomposition for this sphere whenever you have a complete fan. And because of that, we will get that this delta will satisfy this combinatorial property that, in fact, for every tau, because we assume the same for star of tau, whenever you take sigma and sigma prime maximal cones containing tau, there is a sequence of cones, sigma 1 up to sigma r, maximal dimensional cones, all of them containing tau, such that you can cross the walls and go there. Like there is a graph and it's connected graph. The dual graph is connected in some sense. So you can go from one to the other by crossing n-1 dimensional cone. So this property we will, and the GKM condition together will essentially give this the piecewise Laurent polynomial description. So our basis, which we have constructed at least in the examples, it seems to be, because in this Anderson and Payne, they construct an example of a basis, dual basis. This yesterday also in the talk, I think Jongbak's talk, this dual basis came. I think I missed out this RT, home RT, of this Grothendieck group. So this is Grothendieck group of equivariant sheaves with RT. So they give this some Kronecker dual, and then they give the basis there. So here, if we're having a T cellular toricority, we have this cell closures, and then we can take the dual structure sheaves of this cell closures and dual basis here. In fact, in the example which they take some divisive weighted projective space, it seems to agree, but explicitly whether there is any relation, that we need to explore. So I am done. So that's all that I have to say.